welcome to tonight. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. So my name's Kate O'Neill. I've been working with Zinzino for the last 3 years. My background prior to that was in the sports industry. So I've worked for brands like Adidas, Nike, Reebok, and my focus on nutrition was always from a more performance standpoint. And I always kind of, I thought I lived well, I ate well. Me and my husband had good lifestyles, and I thought we were all good. And a little bit of my personal story just before we begin, really why I'm here today is that my husband had a stroke at the age of 39, and he was a super fit and healthy guy, trained 5-6 days a week, didn't do any of the things you would expect, wasn't overweight. And yeah, just one night had a stroke completely out of the blue. And as you can imagine, that pretty much rocked our world. But what it did for me, it sent me on a bit of a personal, bit of a one-woman mission, if you like, to figure out why this happened to him. Because externally, he looked super fit and healthy, but internally, he was a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. And that led me down the path of internal health and cellular health. And testing, more importantly than anything. I became pretty obsessed with testing everything, because we realized after his stroke, there were things that we could have prevented. So when I got introduced to Zinzino 3 years ago now, as soon as somebody told me it was test-based nutrition, I was like, I'm all in. Because I'd spent the 8 years prior really educating myself on nutrition. I trained in nutrition. I became a health coach, more just out of personal passion than anything else. So I was pretty confident when, we took the tests. And I was absolutely horrified when our tests came back out of balance. Now, I'm going to share a little bit with you tonight what out of balance even means. But for me, it was a bit of a wake-up call, really, that I'd spent a long time really trying to do everything I possibly could to make sure my husband stayed healthy and me and my family. But it wasn't till actually we went on the corrective program that Zinzino recommended. And 4 months later, when I saw all green imbalanced tests, honestly, to this day, it was a moment that I'll never forget, because after 8 years of trying, I finally found something that made a difference. So when I realized, well, this is the impact it's had on me and my family, how many other families can I affect? Either stop happening what happened to my husband from a preventative standpoint, or really give a family the tools to really own their own health. So that's why I'm here today. That's why I'm passionate about what I do. And I'm just going to share with you now, really the concept of Zinzino, what the balance test is, who we are. And then I will talk to you a little bit about the business side of Zinzino. And as I said, like doing pretty much what we're doing today. So just to start off, Zinzino, I've just said it there, but we are the pioneers in biomarker test-based nutrition. So if you're not testing, you're guessing, right? You can't look at somebody and say what's going on internally. And really, we are all about personalized, bespoke nutrition. This isn't a one-size-fits-all policy. And we're not just a little company playing at this either. Actually, something very exciting happened a couple of months ago. We reached 1 million tests. Now, we have a flagship test called a balance test, which is a cellular health test. And it basically gives you a snapshot of what is going on internally inside the body. And we hit 1 million marker of that. Now, I'm just going to share a little video with you just to give you an idea of what that means, because I think it's really important before we start talking here. This isn't Ben, Jackie and I's little company that we're playing around with. This is a global company that's making a difference across the world when it comes to cellular health. And here's why. Want to see that, yeah?
It's an honor and it's a privilege that we are announcing that we've achieved 1 million tests. It's a small test. It's a small drop of blood for you, but it's a quantum leap for human health that we're bringing test-based nutrition into the world.
1 million.
1 million.
1 million.
1 million dollar test. 1 million test.
Sata miljoonaa testiä.
Tax on death.
1 million.
When you did a routine, be able to reduce from 9 to 10 minutes. Deltoid said, "You know that good places it means because you're worth it."
Everyone, this is Grandma's companion, Gerald.
Companion. He calls it.
Okay, so sorry, we don't want to play that again. Let's just go on. Okay, so just a little video there, just to, it's something that gives me goosebumps every time I think about it. Zinzino now hold the largest database in the world when it comes to cellular health lipid profiles. Now, you probably think, okay, well, what does that mean? That means people are looking to Zinzino for this, for really a stance of where we are in the world in terms of how our nutrition is affecting us at a cellular level. Now, that's a really big deal because that gives us a lot of credibility in this space. We are a direct selling company, and a lot of the time people, they question, well, why are you not on retail? Why are you not being sold on the retail high street? And it's because we don't want to. We want to have conversations with people. We are so authentic in this space, and we are the world leaders, and people are looking to Zinzino to ask, well, out of that million database, what's happening in the world? How out of balance are people? How is our nutrition affecting us at a cellular level? And that's really, it's very exciting, because when you look at a country like the United Kingdom with X amount of billion people, we only have actually done 18,000 balance tests right now in the UK. And that's how exciting this opportunity is. We are part of something much greater, but we're a tiny little piece of that puzzle. And that's what really excites me, because the opportunity we have in the UK alone to bring better health to people and better nutrition is phenomenal. We all want to stay good and healthy. And I think what we've really seen from this million tests is the world is getting sicker, and they're getting sicker younger. Type 2 diabetes was never a childhood illness. Thousands of children are being diagnosed every year. I think the statistic now is 1 in 3 will develop cancer at some point in their life. That's not right. That's not how it should be. And we've got to start asking ourselves why. And if we just take a quick snapshot into our food industry, if we think how we used to eat, I always think how my granny used to eat. She was a meat and 2 veg girl, no processed food ever passed her lips. Our food years ago was full of the right vitamins, minerals, the right fatty acids. We didn't have to try and be healthy. Supplementation certainly wasn't something that we needed to consider. But unfortunately today, 70% of what we eat is man-made. Even if you're pretty educated on nutrition, it's very difficult to navigate our food industry. You only need to go in the supermarket and look at a label of a product, and well, most of it we can't pronounce. We've got big shiny cucumbers that are sprayed with all sorts. Our soil isn't as it was. We've got chemicals in our meat. It's becoming very, very complicated. And that is affecting us. We are the same humans we were hundreds of thousands of years ago, but what we eat is almost unrecognizable. So really, this is where Zinzino starts. So we look at your omega-6/3 balance. This is the first cellular health test that we conduct. And you might ask yourself, well, why? Well, omega-6 and 3 is a pretty big deal when it comes to cellular health, because every single cell in the body is made up of these 2 fatty acids. Now, if you remember nothing else from this presentation tonight, please remember this. Omega-6 and 3 are essential fatty acids. The key is in the name. They're essential. If you're not consuming them, you will be deficient because the body doesn't make them. So this is when actually trying to consume these fatty acids in our modern day world, when it comes to omega-3, has become very difficult. You need to consume about 3 grams of omega-3 a day. That's the equivalent of eating wild line-caught fish every day of the week. Now, I say wild line-caught because eating fish from the supermarket isn't healthy either. So it's a real catch-22. You know, we can't get enough fish we need from where we would normally get it. But then if we try and get it from wild line-caught sources, it's very, very expensive, around £12 a fillet. So that's the issue. And obviously, if you don't want to go through fish, it's the equivalent in sea algae. So consuming omega-3 has become really complicated for our modern day diets. And the issue with omega-6, there's just too much of it. It's everywhere. Anything with a shelf life, anything processed. So you might ask yourself, well, okay, what's the issue with that? Well, again, if you're not going to remember anything else, remember this. Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory and omega-6 is pro-inflammatory. What does that mean? It means omega-3 is the biggest tool we have in our diet to keep our bodies in an anti-inflammatory state, in a healthy state. Anti-inflammatory is where we want to be. That's from everything from our general health, our mental health, our longevity. We don't want to be in a pro-inflammatory state. Pro-inflammatory basically means our body is in a stress fight mode. So then anything else that comes into the body, our body needs to deal with, it can't deal with it as well. So we want to be in an anti-inflammatory state. So everything we do at Zinzino is about bringing our bodies into that anti-inflammatory condition. And that starts at the cell with your omega-6-3 balance. So a little bit of history about this. Your DNA is formed at a 1-to-1 balance. The World Health Organization recommends a 3-to-1 ratio between omega-6 and 3. The turning point was 1960. This is really when fast food became available. The industrialization of food happened. And really, every single decade now, this ratio is getting worse and worse. In the UK right now, the average is around 25-to-1. The sad thing is it's around 30-to-1 for our children. So generations, our food is getting worse and worse. It's affecting us in more serious ways as you know, the generations go on. So we've really got to start looking at, well, you know, what's happening? Well, it's causing inflammation and it's having a real negative effect on so many different things in the body. So inflammation, it can affect everyone in different ways, but it can reduce our brain function, our organ function, our skin, our joints and muscles, can create more pain. And a lot of people don't understand how many inflammatory conditions are out there. You know, anything with an itis on the end is an inflammatory condition. And that can be, that's majorly affected by the foods that we consume. You know, there's other ways in which inflammation is caused in the body, but our diet is one of the major causes of silent inflammation because we're eating many times a day. And if we're not putting that good nutrition into the body is out of balance. Guys, it all starts here, right? This is how we all started, and the health of our cells affects our health. It affects the way we live, it affects the way we think, it affects the way we function. So Zinzino is all about getting us right at a cellular level. You know, the health and fitness industry is a complicated one. And people are always saying to me, well, what about sea moss and turmeric and all these other, you know, topical products for the skin, for example? And I said, well, that's all well and good. But if you're not absorbing at a cellular level and you're out of balance, well, apart from the fact that's very expensive because you're not going to absorb any of those things, it's not affecting you as well as it should. Get yourself right at a cellular level. This is about foundational health. It's actually quite simple, but as a society, we've forgotten the simplicity of health. And that's what really tonight, hopefully you're going to take away from this presentation, is we're talking about how to get right, how to get your foundational health in a good place, and how to really bridge that gap between the nutrition that we're getting from the food industry and what we actually need to function at a cellular level. And it's all about this. It's all about powering the cell. This lipid profile, this lipid membrane here, this yellow thing you can see on the side here, this is basically the gate to our cell. And what determines if that gate lets the good nutrition in and less waste out is all down to our omega-6-3 balance. So that's how important this is. I don't want to go into the science too much tonight, but basically, this is what your cells are like if your omega-6-3 balance is above 3:1. You are in a pro-inflammatory condition, you have a reduced function cell, nutrition gets in slowly and waste passes out. This is where we want to be, an anti-inflammatory cell, nice soft permeable cell membrane, nutrition gets in and waste passes out. Think golf ball versus sponge, right? A golf ball doesn't absorb much, a sponge does, and that's where we want to be. So really, what we're doing at Zinzino with our balance test is recognizing the problem. We're giving somebody their baseline and saying, this is where you are at a cellular level. This is how out of balance you are. It's a 12-page PDF document that you get from these 3 spots of blood. And it allows somebody to understand, right, this is where I am. But at Zinzino, we don't just give them the problem, we actually give them the solution as well. And then we retest them 120 days later to see if that corrective program has put them back into balance. And that's where this becomes really exciting. So as you know, we've done 1 million tests, and these are our results. So 97% of that million is showing globally that people are above the 3:1 ratio. So what does that mean? That means 97% of the globe are walking around with silent inflammation and are unhealthy at a cellular level. That shows that our nutrition is negatively affecting 97% of the world's population. Okay, so when I look at this slide, I get excited on 2 phases. I get 1, the health opportunity. We can help a lot of people. And 2, the business opportunity. 97% of the world need to know what their cellular health is at, and they need to know how to fix it. So these are the brains behind what we do at Zinzino. Please Google some of these people. Dr. Paul Clayton is one of the world leading neuropharmacologists, and he's really the godfather of Zinzino. And we have some of the best minds of the nutritional world who have come together to really create the Zinzino concept. And this is the start of our corrective program. This is the balance oil. Now, this is absolutely not a fish oil. Any of you who are aware of the Cochrane study of 2018 was released to say fish oil doesn't work. It doesn't work. Actually, what Zinzino have done is pretty genius, but also very simple. What is wrong with traditional omega-3 or fish oil is that it oxidizes very quickly. It turns rancid. It doesn't actually get into the cell. You pee most of it out, really low bioavailability. Zinzino have just gone back to basics. They've looked, how do we consume omega-3 in nature? In nature, omega-3 is combined with a polyphenol. It's the perfect match. So what Zinzino have done is put back that polyphenol using pre-harvested olives to make olive oil. They've combined olive oil and the omega-3. They've combined those molecules. And basically what that does, it acts as the olive oil acts as a carrier to the omega-3 to ensure it gets into the cell membrane. That gate I showed you before on the cell, it gets into that gate, changes the composition of that cell membrane, and changes your entire cellular health. So that's the difference in our balance oil. It really is an absolute game changer to the industry. The omega-3 industry is $1 billion industry, but unfortunately, it's $1 billion industry that doesn't work. Because we know out of those 1 million tests, 20% of people already taking omega-3 supplements, and their average test is around about between 9 and 10 to 1. I'm going to share a few statistics later on in this presentation, but I just want to kind of highlight to you at this stage why this is different and how that much amount of oil every day can change your cellular health. It can change how you absorb nutrients, how you manage your inflammation, and really how you function at a cellular level. So it's simple. It's the polyphenol. Again, another thing to remember from tonight's presentation. And that's really, it's working on many ways. Polyphenols themselves are very anti-inflammatory. And the world, our food industry is very low in polyphenols, antioxidants. So it's also giving you a whole load of antioxidants as well. So the olive oil is the game changer. takes the omega-3 all the way to the cell. We take it based on body weight. So this is a family product. So yes, a six-month-old can take our product right up to a 100-year-old. It doesn't matter. It's the same product. You just take it at a different body weight. Here's some of the claims for the balanced oil. I'm not going to go through this tonight, but if anyone knows anything about the European Food Standards Agency, it's very difficult to get one claim, never mind 18. But if you just look at these first three, everybody wants that, right? Normal brain function, normal heart function, normal immune function. Guys, this isn't about boosting anything. It's like what I said at the beginning. It's about coming back to basics, getting yourself right at a foundational level. You build a good foundation, you'll build a great house, right? And this is all what it's doing. It's about bringing us back into balance, normalizing the body, giving it a chance to actually heal itself. Our approach to Zinzino is all add before you subtract when it comes to nutrition. So add in all the good stuff before you start taking out the bad stuff. I've worked in nutrition for a long time, and trying to change people's behavior can take years, if ever. But actually, by having this approach, you can make a meaningful change with people very quickly. Within 120 days to a 4-month period, you can dramatically affect somebody's health status. Because for some people, for the first time in their life, they're actually giving themselves high quality nutrition, and then they're seeing the effect of that. So this is really the solution to what is going on in the world. It's about restoring the gut, rebalancing the fatty acids, and really boosting our essential vitamins and minerals. So I'm just going to take you through this very top line, just to really let you understand our full health protocol. So we've talked about cellular health, right? We're made up of about 37 trillion cells. I've just talked about the balanced oil and how it brings us back into balance at a cellular level. But at Zinzino, we know that our foundational health is the first step is our cellular health, but the second step is our gut health. Our gut is our second brain. There's 100 million bacteria, and 70% of our immune system comes from our gut. 70% of our hormones are produced in our gut. It really is our second brain. In fact, it's actually our first brain because it's created first in the womb. But I'm sure a lot of people on this call tonight understand the complexity of our gut and how the gut-brain connection. There's so much we can do, but our food industry is damaging our gut. It's actually creating long-term issues that people, actually don't realize the impact as you get older of what happens when your gut biome is affected. So really our Zinzino biotic, our prebiotic gut powder, it does really 5 things. It reduces blood sugar spikes, it promotes good gut health, good gut biome, it balances our cholesterol, it gives us a healthy bowel function, and it balances that very important microbiome. And it has such a huge impact, again, on health. We really can't talk about foundational health without talking about our gut. Then the next piece of the puzzle is our cellular health helps regenerate that antioxidant activity within the cell, but it also needs to be supported by that normal mitochondrial energy and protect cells against oxidative damage. Like, what does all that mean? Well, that basically means once we get our cells working properly, we need to power that cell with good nutrition. We need to be giving it the right vitamins, the right minerals, the right antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds to actually fuel our body. And that's where our immune multivitamin comes in. This product is not just an ordinary multivitamin. It actually equals to more than 3,000 calories of the most nutrient-dense foods that we consume every day. 4 capsules of this multivitamin is the same micronutrients as 9 kilograms of fruit and veg. So before you've even left the house in the morning, if you take our full health protocol, you've eaten a fillet of fish, 9 prebiotic fibers, and 9 kilograms of fruit and veg. It's not bad, is it, by 8 o'clock in the morning? So really, our health protocol is the antidote to a high energy, low nutrition diet, and it puts back what is missing. It's about bridging the gap. And we know from our statistics, people are out of balance. Their nutrition is damaging them at a cellular level. And we need to try and create our own blue zone. Blue zone is basically, zones around the world where certain diseases aren't impacting those countries because of how good their nutrition is. And that's what we want to create, our own blue zone with Zinzino, about putting all these essential things back into the body and seeing the output of that. So I'm just going to finish on this tonight, just a few testimonials, because at the end of the day, this is all about helping people. We do a lot of work at Zinzino with children with ADHD and in the neurodiversity space. And this is just one little boy here. And this is really some feedback here with his school, with his special educator, and with his family. And you can see from his first test to his second test and the changes in his overall his behavior and his concentration, and it's really impacted his life. And we've got a brilliant testimonial from his family that's very heartwarming. That, as I say, if anyone wants any deeper information on any of these testimonials, I'm more than happy to share. I'm not going to go through all these tonight, but we work with so many different things. I've talked about getting your foundational health right. If you get your body back into balance, it's amazing the impact it can have. This is a story here, a little girl who's really suffered from anxiety. And basically, after being on the balance oil, her anxiety went away because her body was no longer in that stress mode. Lots of stories about people reduce migraines, reduce fatigue. Omega-3 is the conductor of hormones. So we have so many testimonials from women, how they helped with every hormonal stage of life, from fertility, helping teenagers with teenage acne right through on to menopause. It really is incredible the impact you can have when you bring somebody back into balance. Also think here, this gentleman reduction in cholesterol, helping with things like gout. And just going to finish on, there's two testimonials which are very close to my heart. We've actually got somebody on this call tonight, and this is their mum. And she was on a concoction of medicine, as you can see here. She suffered from everything from IBS to depression to she really got to the stage she didn't even want to leave the house. She was on so many different medications. That was kind of her life. This is a picture her son took when she was in hospital. And her son reached out to her and said, "Mom, just try the Zinzino health protocol. Nothing else is working for you. You're on a downward spiral. Just try it and let's see what happens." And this is her after being on the health protocol for a year. And honestly, as I say, this is something that's very close to our team's heart. This lady has literally transformed her life. She's come off her medication. And to me, this is what gets me up in the morning, because I know that we are affecting people. We are making a change. If you put that nutrition back into people's bodies, it's incredible what you can do and the output that you have. And then the last story that's even closer to my heart really is my own son. This was his first balance test when we tested him. He was only at the age of 6 when I tested him. My heart sunk. I thought, well, he's my good eater. I've got 3 kids. He was only 6. And I wondered how possibly he could be the most out of balance in our family. But after being on the balance oil now for 3 years, this is his balance test result. So if I do nothing else in Zinzino, job done for me, because I've got 3 kids who are now all in balance. And for my son in particular, it's had a huge effect on his concentration, on his sleep. I don't think I could parent without Zinzino, quite frankly. So this is something that, yes, there's a business opportunity, but this is more than just a job. This is about truly affecting people, really making a difference to individuals and really making a difference to the world. So thank you so much.